I'm here with Eric Hernandez, an expert in gardening evangelism. Eric, what is gardening evangelism and why does it matter?
Yeah, so great question. So I get the notion from Greg Kokel. He makes a really interesting point. He talks about when it comes to evangelism, I think a lot of times we think if the person doesn't drop to their knees and give their life to Christ, I somehow have failed at evangelism. But the point that a lot of people don't understand is that within evangelism, you have gardeners and you have harvesters. In other words, before there can be a harvest, you first need a gardener to plant the seed, till the soil, make sure there's water, pull weeds, take off bugs. Now relate that to evangelism. In the book of John, Jesus says, I have sent you to reap where you have not sown. And then he says, others have done the hard work, but you have reaped the benefits of their labor. Who are those others who've done the hard work? Well, those would be what I would call the gardeners. All that to say, I have a book called The Lazy Approach to Evangelism, a simple guide for conversing with non-believers. And the central idea is essentially this. Colossians chapter 4, verse 5 and 6, we have to learn how to engage in these conversations, and I'll give you the quick illustration I like to use. I was once talking with a young lady, and she said that she was an atheist. I said, oh, okay. Why? Why are you an atheist? Without hesitation, she said, because I can only believe things that are backed up by logic and evidence. Now, I think this may have been her attempt to try to get me to throw something out there, but at this point I want to gather information. I want to garden. She may not be ready. The harvest may not be ripe yet, but I can do something in the moment in a gardening aspect. Maybe I need to pull some weeds. So I said, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Given you're an atheist, what logic and evidence do you have there's no God? And again, without hesitation, it's like she's done this before. She said the Bible is full of contradictions. Now, at this point, a lot of people, including apologists, are going to either start defending Scripture or ask for an example. I say don't do that. And this is why I call it the lazy approach. My response was, and how would that prove there's no God? Now, note why. I asked her for evidence for her atheism, and in response, she attacked Christianity. But attacking Christianity doesn't prove atheism is true. So after I let the point sink in, I said, let me put it this way. If God exists, did he exist before the Bible was written? She says, I don't believe in God. I said, I understand that, but just follow me here. If he did he exist before the Bible was written? And she says, well, I guess if he existed. I said, great. So that means even if I concede the Bible's full of contradictions, I don't, but let's say it is, I'm having trouble seeing how that would make God stop existing or prove atheism is true. What am I missing here? Now, that conversation ended shortly after. She had to go. But note, in those few moments, with just a few questions, I'm making the most use of my time, sticking to the main thing, not going down rabbit trails, and hopefully planting a seed or pulling a weed in her life that is going to give her something to think about. Then I go home and I pray for this young lady, and I say, Lord, send more gardeners her way.